Hey everybody, what's up? This is Fred Moore and welcome to another episode of Build, Burn, Become. Today's show is going to be a lot of fun and really interesting. We're introducing Mr. Ken Potis to the scene. Ken is a certified personal trainer over at Critical Mass Gym in New Jersey. He's really knowledgeable about fitness, nutrition, fat loss, and the human body. He has tapped into a lot of other fitness modalities, other training modalities besides just your traditional weightlifting, such as kettlebell and mace training. What's mace, you ask? Well, listen to the show because we talk about it. So before I introduce Ken, just a little housekeeping. No matter what we do, even for fun, things do cost money, and this show is just no exception. Our producer, Scott Hunter, over at Stanton Hunter Photo, at Stanton Hunter Photo, is responsible for the video work that you see. Not the video work for this introduction, though. And this is just going off of my own equipment, a camcorder. When you watch the actual interview coming up, you'll see that he's using multiple camera angles, and he's just using much better, more professional look, so we like having that, and I want to continue to have it. So I need to find sponsors. So I'm very happy to announce that we have a great sponsor. They make supplements, they make workout gear, and they also do clothing. The company is called Fireline, and the family at Fireline Strong is on board. I do wear their clothing, and I do take their supplements. I like their True Whey protein powder. It's delicious chocolate protein powder that I picked up, and when I have those cravings late at night, that's the thing I go for. I need that chocolate just to settle me down so I can just kind of chill out and go to sleep, and it helps, and it keeps me away from the bad stuff. If you go on at buildburnbecome.com, you'll see me wearing this red hoodie that I'm wearing right now. I'm standing outside in the freezing cold doing some lateral flies with some dumbbells. And I was just out there training in this hoodie and a t-shirt underneath. It kept me warm, but it didn't make me over warm because it's not super thick. It's just the right thickness that I think is good for working out in. So, if you buy supplements and workout clothes for men or women, then please give Fireline a try. If you go to at Build Burn Become and go into the bio, you will see the Fireline link. That will take you to the discount page. Go ahead, go shopping, fill up your cart, and at checkout, just use the code Build Burn Become, and you will get a 25% discount. Build Burn Become, all one word. And you will also be supporting this podcast when you do that, besides getting your discount. And that is the big thing, because your support is going to keep this thing going. And the whole reason for me doing this podcast is to just spread the word that fitness is a must. Health is a must. Everybody who is a tactical athlete, you first responders out there. And yes, everybody else is invited to this concept too. Let's get in shape. Obesity is taking over this country. Heart disease, diabetes. We don't need that stuff. So let's start taking care of ourselves. Pay attention to the research that's going on out there, and check back with this podcast every once in a while. And we're going to see how we can figure this problem out that we're having in this country. And before we get to the podcast, I just want to give one other shout out to Critical Mass Gym in Shrewsbury, New Jersey. Thanks to the owner, John, who has graciously given us this go-ahead to record the podcast in his place. This introduction is not in his place. This is done after the fact when I got home. But watch the podcast on the video. You'll see we're hanging out in the gym. How awesome is that? I love it. I love it so much. I work out there. I podcast there. I hang out there. What the heck? So You can look Critical Mass Gym up on Instagram at Critical Mass NJ, Critical Mass New Jersey. So thank you to our sponsors and thank you for your time. Now let's get to the show. All right, so what's up, Ken? How you doing?
I'm good, man.
Thanks for coming on the show. Appreciate you being here.
Absolutely.
We met a little while ago. When I walked in here, I was feeling a little banged up and beaten up from my job, and it turns out maybe I was going a little too hard with my lifting, and my form was off, and all kinds of issues that I wasn't even really sure of, but I had a feeling something was wrong, and I came to you and talked to you about it, and you did one assessment, and you started pointing out all these things. And I was like, yeah, this guy knows what he's talking about. And so we've been training for a little bit, and I feel a lot better, and it's only been like maybe 5 or 6 weeks, tops. Yeah. So first of all, thank you for being such a sharp trainer, because you really focused in on my problem areas. And, that doesn't happen all the time when you hook up with a trainer. So that's pretty cool. So what I want to know is, as far as your being a trainer and everything, what is it that where did this all start? Where did it come from? What's a little bit of background about yourself?
Yeah. So I really liked getting to meet you too. That was funny. I mean, you come in here, you're looking around the gym, you're like, yeah, this place is kind of interesting. You're looking at, we happen to be partnered with a cryo company. Oh, I'm a little banged up. Maybe I need a freeze, maybe I need a stretch, maybe I need something. And I said, what's going on? What's your training? You said, I'm a fireman, I'm working hard, I'm lifting weights, whatever. How can I be less sore? And you came in, looking for cryo, maybe a good stretch. And I said, no, you need to lift some more weights.
Yeah, right.
and you said, wait a second, there might be something going on here.
Yeah.
So. And
that's what I wanted to hear.
Right,
I think,
right.
too. I was I'm not ready to just lay it down yet.
Lay it down quite just yet. So there was that kind of is part of the fun and that's part of our philosophy here. We believe that strength is a component of a person's health,
right?
And we treat it as such, regardless of the person, of their ability and or their strength. One of our big tagline is find your strength, and so whatever that is, and it's not about being the world's strongest person necessarily, but there's certain checkpoints that we as humans kind of need to feel as far as our movement and things that we can do and our movement patterns that will help us lead a longer, healthier life. And we find that to be really important. So that's one of the things that I'm about and that we're all about. And each of the trainers under this roof, we all have our own skills and specialties, but we share those common principles of things are just handled the right way. If whether it's someone like yourself, that is someone who I've trained, and with similar circumstances. You're a strong person who's into fitness and into the gym doesn't have to be motivated to go to the gym and work hard. It's more about just getting the technique that suits you the best and is going to be sustainable, and so that you don't just lift and enjoy the success of lifting. You also get to enjoy the rewards of feeling good about it and doing it over and over and over again properly, and having that translate. And again, even furthermore for you to translate to yourself as a tactical athlete,
yes,
as someone who's got to be strong. Essentially, being strong is an advantage to your lifestyle and to your way of making a living. As far as myself as a trainer, I started a few years back. I grew up, always was into sports, was into helping people, was into coaching in a variety of different ways. I played baseball pretty much year-round. That was my sport. Besides also playing other sports and going to the gym with my friends, I played baseball all through high school, over the summer, played a little bit in college, and then kind of got away from it during college, just was focusing on other things. But then always kind of stayed around with it. Over the summers, I would coach camps at my old high school with kids, and things like that. And I got to see how just caring and using your brain and for me, just being kind of compassionate and looking at these kids and their needs. I was drawn, if I saw them having a tough time, to helping fix them, and going above and beyond just telling them to do something, but also just teaching them, whether if it was baseball skills, how to swing a bat, how to backhand a sharp ground ball, something like that. So I was always in that culture of baseball and in that culture of coaching, checking people's form on very specific things and seeing their body mechanics and making stuff work for them. So not just working harder, but working smarter and efficiently.
Yeah.
So eventually for me, that was like a natural translation to, wow, for me, first for myself and my friends, when I was going to the gym, I was always that guy checking up on people, checking up on myself, doing the things that come with the sports world, taking video of yourself, analyzing your form, things like that.
You never really probably cut any corners in your heyday, right?
Right.
Like a lot of guys would.
And I was never the best athlete on the field. That's for sure. I'd say I'm a better athlete now than I was in my quote unquote baseball, sports, whatever prime. But I also never got hurt. I'll say that I never got hurt. I did my plyos. I did whatever. I got my conditioning in. I was mostly a pitcher, so I always had my conditioning in, had all my shoulder drills and stuff that I would have to do. And, it wasn't pretty stuff necessarily. I definitely was not the best athlete on the team, but,
right.
I always got my stuff done. And that was just, we were, it was a good competitive program. I'm fortunate to play with a lot of really good players, and kind of they rubbed off on me at a young age. And even when it got to be when I was the older guy in the team, I was that guy that just, I was almost like the coach's pet, I was always doing my warm-ups, getting stuff in. Again, didn't necessarily mean I was the most talented guy, but that was always part of my ethos when I was training and for baseball and stuff like that. And I took that right with me to the gym. And then years later, I said, you know what, I really, I love coaching so much, and let's see, it's me and working out and working with my friends. It's just not. I could always do that, but it's not enough. I feel like I should. There's people, maybe I just getting certified and getting more experience, it'll help me reach more people and help correct things that you see in the gym every day that or could hurt somebody or just flagrantly irresponsible information. So I kind of took that with me there, and then got an internship at Critical Mass back in 2015. Pretty much just said, hey, let me hang around and work out and follow you guys in class and follow the sessions.
I love that. That's
and just stuck around and just refused to leave.
Yeah.
And they're like, fine, just take some classes.
Yeah.
Fine, take a couple more classes. And then years and years, and now I'm working here full time.
That's such a big thing. That goes to show where your mentality is at, because essentially you were like, I love this shit so much.
Yeah.
I just want to be here.
Yeah.
And a lot of people aren't like that. They're like, can I have a job, and can you pay me like right away? And can you pay me up here?
Yeah.
And like, you weren't even thinking that way. You're
Not
like,
even.
let me just get in there, because I have so much to learn, but yet I feel like I have so much to contribute.
Yeah.
And that goes to show where your head is at. And what you're explaining about your background with coaching baseball and everything, I do see how you pay attention to detail, and you don't miss anything. And you see multiple things happening at once, and it's kind of like mind-boggling. And I think that's that deeper layer or deeper texture of a personal trainer that really that's going to bring you up to the top a little bit more. I'm not trying to embarrass you or nothing like that, but you're like 29 years old, and you already know so much. So that because you have that foundation, that's really good quality stuff.
Yeah, that's one of the things. Well, one of the big things that I say about myself personally, and I do feel that my fellow trainers at Critical Mass, like we're in the same boat with this. It's through information, but it's also just through caring. My quote is, compassion is my strength. It makes, when I care about the outcome of a person and how they're going to be when they go home at the end of the day and for the years, down the road, when I care about them, I want them to do it correctly. So there might be guys that have all these tricks to the trade or fancier equipment or other things like that that are to their advantage, and God bless them,
Right.
you should use that too. But my eyes and my brain, don't deceive me, and that's how we all feel here at Critical Mass is, I care enough about this person that I won't let them fail, and I don't mean failure as far as like doing well or not doing well. I mean like I'm not going to let them, have bad form or be seen doing something and not know what they're going to do. They're not going to never not have guidance from me.
Yeah.
So
Right.
that's I'm always on top of them. And I treat my clients like they're celebrities or they're athletes, and that's the way, the mentality I have. People joke with me like, oh, you're helping me out with this or whatever. I was like, do you think like Beyonce's client or trainer is gonna cancel or do this or not give us their 100? Well, that's how I feel too.
Yeah.
You think any of these celebrities or these athletes, right? And it's kind of crazy, and I kind of just make them laugh, say stuff like that. But that is how I feel. Their results count to me. You're not going to find a lot of other places like we have here where someone's sitting there taking video and breaking down video of your average person in their kettlebell swing or their deadlift or things like that. And it's not like I necessarily am getting them ready for competition, although some of them do want to compete and lift heavy things,
Well,
do crazy things. But even just for the fact that they are doing it, I want them to know that they're doing it right and that they're being cared for.
Yeah, and you say that maybe they're not really getting ready for competition, but
Right.
it's sort of like a mindset thing. Like life is a competition,
That's right.
I mean, you never know what you have to do in the parking lot of the supermarket,
Right.
what your package is or whatever. It might be
Sure.
raining, you got to carry a bunch of stuff. So, hey, it's life. You're competing against all kinds of things in general. So that if people look at it that way and approach their training that way, it kind of gives them something greater to work for, or it's more motivating. Like there's a bigger thing. It's more than just maybe I could get a 6-pack, and it's like I want to be able to perform. That's such an awesome feeling to know that you could do that. And I know another slogan of this gym is we let you do stuff other gyms won't let you do, right? Something like that. I read that somewhere. I don't know where that was.
Yeah, I think we would put that on maybe one of John's write-ups. Those sound like
it was something
words.
like that.
Yeah,
and I was like,
right.
I love that, and that that's kind of what's going on here because you have basic weight training going on. So you got like power lifters in here. You got people training for hypertrophy, whatever, or maybe they're coming back from an injury and they're utilizing certain machines. But then what else do you do here? What else do you have? You have some pretty cool stuff.
Yeah. So our flagship program is our classes, and that's we want, and again, that's all geared towards a central theme. All 6 or 7 days of our classes, whatever you want to come to, they're all going to go together and be moving in one direction together. And that's health and fitness and strength as a component of health. I'm just going to go back to what you said about, strength for daily life. You hit the nail right on the head. That's what we're about.
Right.
And there's two,
and I get that feeling when I walk in here.
Right. Yeah. And there's two truths to that I see every day, which, first of all, basic truth is the world around us has mass.
Right.
Kids weigh stuff.
Right.
Puppies weigh stuff.
Yeah.
Groceries weigh stuff. So, whether, depending on whatever your goals are, whatever, but we want people to be taught how to pick things up off the ground properly and handle weight correctly and know where their hips are supposed to be and knees are supposed to be, so you can save your joints for their years and years of repeated movement of hiking and things like that. Some of the best feedback I get from people are, you get a lot of people that are stuck at a desk for their job, and that's the reality. I'm not knocking that. I think that's, they might have an amazing mind and they just need to be seated and produce their work.
Right.
But that is a reality of our world now, is people are seated oftentimes, in the West, in the United States especially, and we get some of these tightness issues in our hips and our knees and things like that. And I have people come back to me, after training with us for a while, and they say, wow, I used to sit and my knees would just hurt. I'd be sitting commuting on the bus, my knees would just bother me. Or, it would bother me to sit down and stand up, and I thought there was something wrong with me, and now they're fine, and they come in here with me, and they're burying squats with body weight, or even if it's a light kettlebell, you know what I mean?
Right.
And that's the great thing about having strength, or at least, knowing your strength, knowing what you can handle, so you can reel yourself in, or so you can enjoy life more. I get people that, maybe they're a little overweight, maybe they had some of those tightnesses, maybe they had some of those issues, and they come back to me after a few months of training with us and say, wow, you guys would be so proud of me. I went on vacation and I hiked and I kept up with my kids and I kept up with my family, and I didn't have to stop. I didn't have to sit down this time. And I said, no wonder I've been having you push a sled around and you taught you how to pick up and carry a kettlebell or things like that. And again, it's not competitive, but they know how their body's supposed to move and how it's supposed to feel when it's going right. And then real quick, the number 2 is you do get people that it wakes up something inside of them, where they say, I'm seeing this progress, and what's next. Maybe they do want to try for a PR or stuff like that. People have gone through the whole transformation, the whole ringer, where they came into someone who was either not as experienced in the gym or was skeptical about the gym, or maybe they trained on their own but to no avail for a while. And then they come in here for a while, then they get better. And they get a little more better. They start feeling good about themselves, and then they want to see how much they're like they've regained their prime. They come out with a pep in their step, and now they know their weights. They have knowledge of what their body can do, and they want to do even more.
Yeah,
so
they're like, let me
awesome.
see what else I could do.
Like I've been held back all these years.
I have power.
That was clearly a false thing that I put, the world put on me, or I put on myself, that maybe there was this limitation there. And now that's gone, and I know that there's a process by which to achieve a stronger, fitter body. What can I do next? Can I? Maybe I got people. They sign up for road races or sign up for events or go on more adventurous vacations where they're doing stuff that's physical, and it's just that's what it's about. Right there.
Yeah. So you have other modalities that you train in, such as kettlebells. And then what's really interesting to me is this Mace work.
The Mace work,
Yeah, that I saw a little bit of that on social media a while ago, and I'll be honest, I was just like, yeah, whatever.
Some guy flipping a whatever you want to say, stick around.
It's just
what's going on here?
It looks so different. The human mind is right away like, no, that's nothing. But then you've had me using some, and it is fantastic. It is fantastic for not only building strength, but more mobility too, which is what I need a lot. Most people need. So that, and it doesn't look like many people in the country are really doing Mace work. No. So you're the only person I know of. You're that one guy that I know that does Mace work. Yeah, you're the Mace guy. So what's up with that? How long have you been doing it?
So for me, the Mace has been a journey. And at Critical Mass, we're all about just finding out what is the best and bringing that in. We're not just going to go get some dopey product that, or an item that might just have one use or something like that. We use the barbell. If people are up for that. A lot of our training is really based around the kettlebell. If I have somebody come in, probably the first thing I have them do after I've screened them and made sure that their joints everything are in good shape is I have these kettlebells. They're actually about 20 pounds, 22 pounds. They're hollowed out, and I have them squat and deadlift with those and use that just small amount of weight as a teacher to kind of build their hinge patterns and squat patterns based on that. So a lot of our stuff is based around the kettlebell, even just basic kettle movements. I say basic because they should be basic, but like the kettlebell swings, which you often see aren't performed correctly, maybe in some of the other gyms. And everyone kind of has their own ideas about that. But so we built a lot of it around the kettlebells. And we also, we'll have sleds and stuff like that and all kinds of strength modalities. So eventually out of that, I saw the clubs. This is about a year and a half ago. I saw the clubs, and if you see the clubs, they look like a short, fat
baseball bat.
Baseball bat, yeah. Like if you were ever a kid or had kids that had that like Mark McGuire, like big hollow, short, fat wiffle ball bat, like that's what we're talking about. We're talking about that, except it's pretty solid metal with a little bit of padding on it and a knurled grip, almost like the grip of it's almost like a barbell grip.
Right.
So those are the clubs. Cousin of the mace.
Right.
So first I got the clubs in my hand and I said, what's going on with this? I started researching, filling myself with videos, and pretty much started taking some of the kettlebell movements and applying them to the clubs. So you have like the kettlebell halo where you're kind of swiveling the bell up over one shoulder, then pulling it over the other shoulder behind your head. It's great shoulder strength and mobility builder. And then you have the kettlebell swings. So I got to swinging these clubs, which are a different shape. You know, it's not shaped like a kettlebell, and I'm pretty much gripping it one or two hands like a baseball bat.
Right.
And I'm building grip strength and forearm strength. So it's not going to be maybe as heavy as the kettlebell would be in the movement, but I'm building all this strength here, just gripping this thing and holding onto it and doing it properly. You know, I followed a lot of, you know, YouTube videos and instructional things on that. So that was the clubs. That was my first kind of idea into this. And then I started flowing with the clubs, swinging it horizontally, you know, from outside one knee to outside the other, and then working in halo. They call it the gamma cast with the club over behind your head.
Right.
Fred, you do the gamma cast. It really built some great shoulder mobility for you. That's that 360 move. You're pretty much taking that club, pulling it over one shoulder, putting it behind your head, and pulling it down on the other shoulder.
Yeah, and that's a great movement, and that's kind of what I was referring to earlier.
Yeah.
It seems to be strengthening and helping with mobility, and
For sure.
I'm doing it a little bit better, and the weight's going up, and it doesn't feel like it's killing me or anything like that.
Yeah.
But I feel like I'm definitely progressing.
For sure.
So how great is that? You know,
Amazing.
Amazing. It's almost like low impact.
It is low impact.
But
it looks crazy because it's got like you got this big metal thing in your hand, right? Like you're gonna look like you're about to club somebody. It looks
you
wild.
got to just make sure you're under control. You don't whack somebody in the head when they're walking by.
But there's and I've never had that by the way. But it definitely is like a fun kind of tool. And then the mace is the cousin of that. So the mace is a long, thin, pretty much bar. It looks almost like a barbell with a little kettlebell at the end of it. If I'm trying to paint you a picture here, and pretty much both of these tools actually, you're going to see them. I mean, you're going to see both these tools. You're starting to already, even in some of the more, especially like the athlete gyms, the gyms that are maybe geared towards unconventional strength, maybe ones that are geared towards, you know, martial arts, things like that. You're starting to see them pop up a little bit, and you're going to see them around.
Right.
I mean, they're getting more popular, and it's crazy to see them and seeing what, for better or for worse, what people are trying with them.
Now, as far as that modality is concerned, as you know, we've been talking about tactical athlete, right? You know, firemen, police, EMS workers, carrying uneven loads and stuff like that. That's something right there. Like you had me using a mace, and you know, I have the weight on the right-hand side, but there's hardly any weight on the left-hand side. And then you have to do a lunge, repeat the lunge, and then you switch sides, and it feels like your arms are all wonky because you were holding weight here, and even a slight amount of weight causes this unevenness, and it's less predictable. And how great is that? Like if firemen were to train with that regularly, they would be simulating that awkward stance when they're swinging with an axe or whatever, and or an EMS worker carrying like their bag with one hand and something else with the other hand. It's
insane.
Like you said, it should be spreading because it definitely is something that works, and it's a great way to mimic your environment, your work environment.
Yeah, and what I was going to add to that is, I mean, it's going to start to look more and more like a trend. Like, and again, like the first reaction for people is usually, yo, what is this, man? He's twirling this thing around like a baton. Is it even like weigh anything? Like, what's this working? Is he just goofing around? Like, but this has actually been, these tools, these clubs and mace are based on ancient warrior training.
Yeah, I want to tell everybody, go to Ken's Instagram. It's Ken Plant Beast, right? Go to Ken Plant Beast, and it's right at the top right now. I don't know how many more videos he's going to post by the time we get the show up, but he's using this Is that a club? The Stormbringer?
The Stormbringer, yeah,
that's a club.
I named that after. That's a name from a Game of Thrones.
Oh my God!
And it's a big, it's a long mace. It's a 30-pound mace.
It's so long.
It's super long.
And you're just wailing this thing around in the video. So I'm like, yeah, whatever. And then I'm here the other day. I go, where is that? And I look at it. I go, what does this weigh? And it was 30 pounds.
30 pounds with a long handle.
And I go to lift it, and I'm like, I just put it right down. I was like, how the hell is he doing what he's doing with it? Yeah. And it's amazing. It really is. And I don't care what anybody says. You got to be fit, or, you got to know what you're doing, and you got to be fit to be able to move it the way you were moving it.
For sure, yeah.
I love that name, too.
That's the Game of Thrones reference there. I had to throw that in there, with all this stuff. But, it's a lot of grip strength, and you'll see the mace moving around and doing its thing, and people are going to have some pretty intricate moves. And it's actually it's amazing to watch with some of these coaches.
It is.
Leo Urquidez is a guy out of Austin, goes by Leo Savage. Serena, she works with him also. Some of the stuff that they can do is just, it's art, it's strength, but it's also art.
Right.
Their tagline is do something beautiful with your strength, and I believe that, man. It is amazing to watch. And then you got other guys that are all about the swings, that have like the big hammer of Thor type of thing that I had.
Yeah.
That 30-pound long the 8X mace they have, and that's more about, they actually have competitions where they got guys putting 5 minutes on the clock and trying to swing them side to side. Pretty much loops around behind your head, like that gamma cast motion. In the mace world, they call that a swing or a 360 swing.
Right.
Again, similar to the halo or that gamma cast or that club.
Right.
And guys are swinging that back and forth and controlling it and pulling it to their center. For 5 minutes. And some of the record guys, this guy named Brad, got over 100 in 5 minutes to each side.
Wow.
Which is pretty incredible. So yeah, you got to have some serious, at least moderate to above average grip strength. And when you're watching any of these mace movements, again, as you mentioned astutely, the uneven load, you notice right away. Most people I have worked with, even Fred's a strong guy. First one I put in their hands is usually 10 pounds. And if you extend that thing away from your body a little bit, it starts feeling like this is not 10 pounds anymore.
No, it feels like 50, 60 pounds or something.
There's equations to find out.
Yeah,
I'm not a physicist to find that out. But it definitely feels way heavy. And I guess my last point would just be your abs, core, back, and just foundation, your legs, and how your relationship to the ground becomes super important when there's all that action going on in your hands and over your head and behind you to stabilize. And that's how I love to use the mace. There's so many ways to use it, but one of the ways that I like to have it for my clients in our classes, and Fred and I have been working on this a little bit, is for stability, those offset loads. So if Fred, as a tactical athlete, has to carry something heavy up some steps or something awkward he's got to do, what I pretty much will do is take the mace and have it in the person's hands, or like Fred, I'll had it in his hands, and they'll perform a lunge, very strict lunge, while performing a strong grip on the mace, bracing the abs and manipulating that mace. Usually I have them do a sort of like a sweeping uppercut or a chop motion.
Right.
Sometimes I'll have them extend the mace away from their body or drop it down on one side or raise it. And a great example, if somebody is really strong with it, or I will sometimes perform the swing even in the lunge patterns themselves. So it's just a great way to find out if you can really lunge.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if you can really handle it with weight. Lunges, even just body weight lunges, are a really tough skill to master for some people. And then it's, once they have that body weight lunge down, how can you test it and disrupt it slightly, in a way that's effective, that's going to work their abs.
That's a good point. Grip. Disrupt, because whether you're playing football, basketball, or you're a fireman or you're a policeman, a policeman apprehending a suspect, they get against the car, they're going to put the cuffs on, but then something disrupts that. The guy turns around and they get into it, right? So now that cop has to react split moment. So that's where a lot of injuries occur. Yeah. Whether it's, like I said, playing football, it's you're analyzing the playing field, you're analyzing your suspect, you're fighting a fire, and conditions change, and you react. And when you make that reaction, you can hurt yourself because you go off balance. You change.
Sure.
You get into something awkward.
For sure.
So this is what NFL players are always training.
Sure.
To prepare for a quick change in direction or whatever. That's what happens. It's always a quick change in direction. Your knee goes or something like that.
Absolutely.
So that's why I honed in on that stuff right away. I was like, ooh, I got to stick around here because that's going to definitely help. And another thing that I'd like to touch upon is you guys using animal flow in a lot of your training, which is fantastic. You see these guys crawling on the floor, but it's not just regular crawling. It's a disciplined move.
It's a discipline.
And I'm thinking to myself, well, that's firefighting right there. You're on one knee, you're sliding across the floor, you're maybe on your belly or whatever.
Sure.
You got to stay low, and you have to work in that position. So what's better than to train under a more controlled atmosphere in a pair of shorts and learn how to move your body, how to flow?
Yeah.
And how long have you guys been doing that for? And do you teach animal flow, or do you have other people here that are more of or is it everybody doing it?
Sure. I would say we've been after that. Some of the gentlemen that I've been working with have been after that, and myself included in some small part, and eventually have gotten better and better. We've been doing that for a good 4 or 5 years now.
Oh, wow.
And that's, again, it's one of those things that like you're going to start to see stuff like it. I would say Animal Flow is a brand, and it's a really good brand of it, where they are their own teachers, and they teach their own style. But there is actually a wider net, if you will, called ground-based movement.
That's right.
That is kind of like the buzzword of like, this is what this is.
Yeah.
Where, so ground-based movement, and then you see a lot of other trainers and master trainers that are kind of developing their own. I guess what I would say about Animal Flow is that makes it fun and easy to kind of teach, at least on a basic level, is that pretty much what the guy's name is Mike Fitch, who did the Animal Flow brand. He saw all these common movements that take place in yoga and martial arts and sports and training everywhere, and kind of put them under one roof together.
Incorporated
it together and has a teaching system where a yoga teacher in the United States and a martial arts instructor, maybe in Asia that doesn't speak English, they both can say right hand crab, and everyone knows what that means.
Right.
And I'm versed in the level 1 Animal Flow, and I practice it, and I'd say everyone in our gym, including the clients, are kind of at around that level 1 Animal Flow. And I went to a great workshop and everything with that, with a master trainer, earlier this year, and pretty much just you hit the nail on the head. It's some unusual movements that we all should be able to do,
right.
That end up being really hard because we don't do them enough. And it's built in a sense to kind of actually build your mobility so you can do other movements. Like, for example, I have people work Animal Flow so that they can get better at just their basic squat resting position.
Very good.
We should be able, as human beings, our anatomy is such that we should be able to almost sit in like at least some kind of passive squat for minutes on end, comfortably.
Yeah.
If not longer. And
right.
in some places of the world they do that. And like I said, in the West, we're a sitting culture. We're more of an industrial kind of nation, just the way we're built.
Right.
And our lifestyles here aren't exactly that, as on a grand scale.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean our anatomy isn't still useful for that, and then we can't refine that. And so they have moves under the Animal Flow umbrella, and they have other ones too. Under all these ground-based movement, like we would call it under the Animal Flow. We would call it like deep ape, where you're sitting in that passive squat and you're reaching forward in a very specific way, and you're kind of just finding that bottom position. And then there's the traveling forms. Lateral ape is a great one. Again, you're sitting deep in that squat. You're pushing your hands out, and you're also using your hands and developing that hand and wrist strength. things like that. We have the crab where you're set up pretty much. If you're looking at it from far away, it looks like a bunch of kids playing Twister. Or a bunch of grown adults playing Twister, or in gym class, crab walk, racing each other. But there's very specific, which is kind of the fun of it too. You know, it is fun to do, right? It's not all work. It is fun to kind of try these new moves out. But you're sitting in these positions, and they're done in a way that's proper. You know, if I'm sitting in a crab position, I don't want my arms and hands and feet too far away from each other, because that's not very efficient. You figure out pretty soon that you want your hands facing backwards. I have my shoulders back, my butt is down, my feet are planted, and then out of that crab position at the level 1, level anyway, is an exercise called the crab reach, where I'm pretty much doing a high hip bridge and letting my hand follow it. And that's a great teaching tool to teach people how to use their glutes and work their hamstrings and get that hip bridge involved. And then there's so much more from that. Or people just crawling in the basic beast position. It's pretty much just another
basic beast.
Just the beast, the beast position, loaded beast.
All right, you don't want to be a basic beast.
No, you're a beast. You're a beast that gets Starbucks in the morning.
Man, you're just a basic beast.
You're just a pumpkin spice latte beast. Just the beast position, right? And so you're pretty much walking on your hands. You got your knees low to the ground. Your abs are fired up. You find out real quick that you don't have a lot of wrist strength and mobility that you thought you might have had, but
especially if you never done it before.
And it's not meant to be intimidating, but it's meant to get you into that natural flow of things.
And you know what? At least just try it. Just try it and see how far you can get with it, because any door you open is always, in this regard, is always a positive way to approach your fitness or whatever.
And we're always positive and safe about it, and you'll reap the rewards. You'll get a great workout out of it. You know what I mean?
Right. And not beat yourself up. Or
you won't be beat up. It's body weight
and then
stuff.
And then you go home and you show your kids what you could do. They'll be like, "Wow, you could do a handstand." I never saw you do a handstand.
Yeah, it's amazing what people can get after with that. So, and we back to we were talking about like the classes, right? So we do have Mark, who I would say is like an animal flow specialist, man. I mean, this guy, he's got a bodybuilding background. He's got some other stuff that he's very good at. But
so you have animal flow classes.
He has the advanced animal flow classes. You got a couple people that can really move, man. I mean, they're getting into handstands and stuff like that. And then we also have the animal flow basic that he does. And which is more for beginners, just learning like that level 1. I was saying like the crab positions, the beast positions, stuff like that.
All right. And is there any other classes besides?
So we also incorporate, which I mean, you're not going to really find this around. We incorporate stuff like the club, the mace, and animal flow, along with the kettlebells and everything else, into our core classes.
Nice.
That occur 6 days a week.
So now, how do people find these classes, and how do they sign up? Can they do it online?
Yeah. So for us, for our just general membership classes, I'd say the best thing to do is just give us a call or shoot us an email, criticalmassnj@gmail.com.
criticalmassnj
at
gmail.com. All right. Or just look up Critical Mass on the Google, and you'll see the phone number there.
Yeah. And what I really like to do with people is there's ways to get you into class and stuff like that, no problem. We like to do, like we did with you, was the movement screen. So myself or RJ, one of the guys, will take you through that movement screen.
Yeah, and that movement screen is great, because I think everybody should do that at least once in a while, just to get to know their bodies a little bit and see what's up. That was helpful. And then you gave me a free class too.
Usually
a free training session.
Usually I'll give people, either as part of that screen or moving forward, some kind of introductory, lessons to not. I'm not just going to evaluate you and send you home. I'll give you something to take with you, whether it's just teaching you how to hip hinge properly and get that deadlift off the ground. How to squat properly within yourself, and then usually do like a little finisher workout after that, so you get a little taste of kind of the flavor of what we do. That I always say that the first meeting is at least the first half of it is a little vanilla, just to kind of let me get to know you and see what to go for, what to avoid, and establish your goals. And then we kind of just build your game plan off that, and I give you some lessons on how to start to use some of this fun stuff and have a little fun by the end.
All right. Yeah, so that's that. So you guys got a lot going on here, obviously.
Sure.
To recap, you could get in touch with Critical Mass just by going right to the website. Their Instagram is Critical Mass NJ. Ken's Instagram is Ken Plant Beast.
Yeah,
I think of like a brontosaurus. That was a plant beast, right?
I'm thinking like You know what? It's not me that's the plant beast. The way I say it is everyone else is a plant. We're all plant beasts.
Oh, okay.
I want people eating their veggies and lifting their weights.
Yes.
Regardless, however you do it.
That's old school right there,
that's
too.
Right.
Eat your veggies, lift your weights. I love that.
Move some weights properly, with good training.
Nowadays, it's like drink your protein shake and lift your weight. Nah, eat your veggies, man. Eat your veggies.
Let's work on those veggies.
I love
the
it.
Protein. Yeah, sure.
So that's great.
At Ken Plant Beast on Instagram.
Nice. All right,
I'm always putting workout stuff on there.
Yeah, and I think you're going to be coming up with some tactical athlete training down the line. So when that's up and ready, we're going to talk about that again.
Oh, we're doing it already, man. You're getting it.
You're right.
Yeah.
It's sort of like it just started, but
we're doing the kind of training that needs to be had, and Fred's definitely taken to task. I've given him some tough stuff to do. To kind of to try that out. So it's something I'm passionate about.
I'm into it, man. I'm into it. It's like let's do this. I get here early, and I'm like, are you ready for me yet? And usually you're ready. I'm like, let's start early. So it's cool, man. Good job, man. Thank you for the chat, and thanks everybody for listening. Tune in again when we have our next episode. Stick with us and watch us grow. Peace out. Become a better you.